to the Houston Astros last night. 7-3 was the final. Beat them on Monday, 6-1. So we'll see what happens. 8:10 tonight is the third of three in Houston. Where do they? Is it Minute Maid Park? Where do the Astros play?
I'm not sure.
That was Minute Maid Park.
Cheaters Island.
It's a huge island. Mm-hmm. They're banging garbage cans and putting little mirrors on their... Yeah! Putting mirrors on their hats or whatever those...
So they could see up skirts? Like on the toes?
When the guy's banging you, you spin off of him.
That's right. Thank you, Chuck. Another chance for you to grab $1,000, by the way. In about 8 minutes, 3:30 is the next keyword for you to go fund yourself. Somebody left a message on the iHeartRadio app. And they were like, does anybody ever win this? I haven't gotten anything. Yes. Somebody wins every single time. Kathy from Canton just won off of me the other day. But somebody wins every time. The fact that you haven't won yet is regrettable, but indicative of nothing. Other than you got to listen for these keywords. So the next one
keep
here.
Playing. Maybe it's
you can't win if you don't play. So 3:30 and then 4:30 and 5:30. And your next one tomorrow will be 9:30 with Rover. Hey, let me go to, it might be 2 days in a row that we've heard from Mike, who checks in from the west coast of Ohio. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Alan. Hey, Alan. How's it going? Hey,
how are you? Thank you, sir.
Good, good. I was calling in this time a little bit more serious note because I think Steve Kerr was right, and I think you guys were touching on some interesting stuff. There's like this, all these debates boil down to really A, B, and that's purposely intended to be that way, right? Like, it's to distract and avoid having to ever talk about a real issue or dig into it or understand the history or have to really talk about policies and how, expenditures are only good if they're positive GDP growth, But, like, for example, a great example is like, you talk about San Francisco and all the craziness and the crime that's there, and you hear it all over, displayed everywhere. You're like, I don't know, like 3 times as likely to be murdered in Jacksonville, Florida, with comparable population size to San Francisco. Same with like Fort Worth, Texas. You're about like 2 times more likely to be murdered there than in San Francisco. 40% more likely to be raped, right? And so this idea of pro-life is really all hogwash, right? Red states are, life expectancy is way lower, education is way lower, and nobody ever wants to really dig into the issues on why and what's going on there. It's a power trip by politicians to keep everybody arguing A versus B instead of actually digging in, right? Californians are the most likely to stay in their state, the most likely the longest to live, the highest the highest privacy rights. I'm not saying everything's great there and it should just be adopted everywhere, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, listen, meaningless noise is a really useful political tactic. That's why, somebody pointed out that all these Republicans were basically tweeting the exact same language. We're horrified and heartbroken and blah, blah, blah. That is predictable and it's nonsensical by design because there is no political cost for doing something or not doing something. There's no number of dead kids that's too many for Republicans who are in charge. Unborn kids are a super convenient group to advocate for because they don't need anything. Unborn kids don't need anything. Real live kids need a lot of things. But there's, that's a lot harder to contend with. Requires resources, Alan, requires political will.
Even the guns, the history of guns, like this isn't a new thing that we're experiencing here, right? Like, most people don't know the right to bear arms as an individual person's right by the federal government is not a entrenched in our history sort of decision. That's a 2008 heavily conservative packed Supreme Court decision. Before that, the Supreme Court did preside over multiple cases of personal gun ownership. Most notably, probably the Valentine's Day Massacre. I believe it was like 1930 or 1929.
John Dillinger?
Like that. Yep, they actually ruled that, we refuse to make a ruling on an individual's right. It's a state's right. But all of a sudden on guns, no longer can it be a state's right to choose to limit those powers, form a militia, a well-regulated militia.
Well, but it also very much started in the 70s. I mean, there were a lot of conservatives, late 60s, early 70s, that were very pro-gun control. But what changed was the civil rights movement was happening, and there were a lot of black protesters in the streets, and there were people who still didn't want, still wanted schools to be segregated, and so you had all these people who were like, gee, maybe we should loosen up guns for white people because, so that's when that whole thing kind of started, was in the wake of, civil rights movements, and then Reagan in the 80s, and, I'm boring everybody now, but I mean, it's,
well, no, Alan.
There's no to suggest that we have easy solutions is a misnomer, but there are too many people that want to suggest that there are no solutions, and that's equally false.
Exactly, and I don't think there's easy ones. But even if you know anything about that Valentine's Day massacre case, it wasn't over banning guns. It was, hey, we probably shouldn't let people have sawed-off shots. We probably shouldn't let people have Tommy guns because you don't use that to hunt. That's not about self-protection anymore.
And it's tough for guys named Tommy
murder.
or Thompson. I mean, nobody wants to be besmirched like that. And it's, right, it's why you can't buy a Javelin missile and have it in your garage. I mean, it's the same thought there.
Whoa, Alan. Alan, the Constitution gives me rights here. Okay,
well, no amendment is unlimited. And I mean, if you're trying to signal to me, Mike, blink twice if you have a Javelin missile in your garage right now. On the west coast of Ohio.
It's aimed at a certain location in Independence, Ohio.
You son of a bitch, Mike. I'm going to hang up on you because I will not abide that kind of threat. I know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I know what he's saying to me, and I won't have it.
Even have the name Roland can be a tough name.
That's right. Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner. The great Warren Zevon.
And now, everyone is sufficiently bored.
Well, when Mike calls in from the west coast of Ohio, he is, if you'll pardon the expression, he's loaded for bear, right? Yeah. He's got a lot of ammo. He wants to spit in my direction, and he's got some thoughts, and I'm happy to let him... No,
I think he did a very good job of explaining everything, because he's usually a little sillier, a little more irreverent, but I thought this was a good call.
Jim Irsay is the longtime owner of the Indianapolis Colts. He's a guy who's had some issues in his life, a bunch of DUIs. He had a mistress for a while who OD'd in a house that he bought with Colts money, and so he's like a guy who's in recovery, and he way overpaid for Kurt Cobain's guitar that he played in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. They thought this thing was going to get like $600,000. He paid $4.5 million for it. He really wanted this. He's bought a lot of rock and roll memorabilia. The guy's a billionaire, right? He's worth like $4 billion. His dad, built this huge company and that made him rich. And so Jim Irsay owns the Colts. He bought an original copy of Kerouac's On the Road back in the day, but he owns Elvis Presley guitars and Beatles guitars, and he owns Prince guitars and all this stuff. So he clearly wanted the Cobain one for his collection and way overpaid for it. He paid $4 million for David Gilmour's Black Strat. The guy plays in Pink Floyd. Now, whether or not he also contributes a lot of money to local rehab organizations, I don't know if that's the case. This guy's gone through some stuff. But, and again, I don't know who runs the Cobain estate. I don't know who gets that money. But, when you have $4 billion... you go, you know what? I don't want anybody to have this. I'll overpay for it. Do I hear $600,000? Do I hear $4.5 million? That's right. Sold to the man with the bad goatee and the cowboy hat in the back.
It's dropping a big D on him.
I got $1,000 right here for you. It's a chance for you to go fund yourself. Listen closely and good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword BILLS at WMMS.com. That's BILLS. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
Alan, love the show. Me and my son listen every day when we drive to Columbus for his chemo treatments. Aww. He just finished his last round on his third fight with cancer. He's 14.
Jeez.
His name is Joby.
What up, Joby?
Could you give him a shout out? Sure. There you go. Joby.
Congrats.
God bless America.
You're a badass, Joby.
Doing it, man.
Yeah, my nephew is finally going to get to go to kindergarten in the fall. He's been dealing with cancer and chemo and for most of his little life. But I think he might be on the getting to be on the right side of it.
And Joby, if you want a free foot pick from Mary.
Yeah, sure. I'll donate to charity.
He's only 14.
It's too young to have a fetish.
He ain't got no foot picks, but Mary's feet is good enough for Joby. Why not? Get him one. Doesn't have to be anything lascivious.
Yeah, could you?
Right? He doesn't have to know that you're the foot whore.
Could you get in trouble for that?
I don't know.
Trouble for what? A picture of a foot? No.
I don't think so.
It's a foot.
I know. I'm just saying, but you're sending it for a salacious reason.
No, you're
She's
not.
sending it
Send a
'cause
picture of a
Joby
foot.
got through chemo again.
It's a little congratulations. A little thank you for whatever.
Here's some thigh. Like
No.
Oh.
14.
Here's some thigh.
Oh, sigh.
That's when everything started for me. 14.
11.
11?
Yeah.
Well, 11 I was like tossing, but like 14, like that's when I'm like, oh wow.
Oh, I thought you meant when you started tossing.
No, I started tossing at like 11. But like when I started talking to dudes, like when I was discovering the fact that like, oh wow, I might be gay. And there's other guys in my classroom that might be gay too. 14 was like high school age, so that was like my first experience.
Hey, Cody, this is Frank.
Locker room scene.
Locker room. Top Gun. Bottom Gun is the one he wants to watch. Is it, Mary? Is it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Miss Foot Queen over here, and you're talking about my lifestyle's gross. Man, shut your ass up.
I keep my feet pristine. I get pedicures every 2 weeks and photograph them. There's nothing gross about it.
So you're
Very clean.
Pristine,
actually.
like the Susie and the Banshee song.
Sure.
I gotcha.
Let me watch you poop. Okay, that's gross.
Okay, that's fine. To each their own.
That's why feet are perfect, because they don't have to be, it's not genitalia. So
No.
people who are into feet, it's visually innocent.
Yes.
Once in a while,
I'm okay with it.
Once in a while you have to dip in sour cream. You
Or
know
milk,
this, right?
or
Large curd,
Spit on 'em.
cottage cheese. Spit on them.
Spit on them and smack them.
Ah, boy.
Tell them who's boss.
Blech.
Did anyone request like a video of you like crinkling your toes? Like
Yeah. All the time. That's a very popular one.
And dirty feet too, right?
People like dirty feet.
People like dirty
very
feet.
clean feet. Some people are into super busted feet.
This guy that I said,
Sorry,
Like
I
hammer
can't-
toes and
I can't
stuff?
help you. Well, like not well kept. So like rough.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Not, like I get pedicures
You're like,
every 2
sorry,
weeks.
guys, my feet are gorgeous. I
kinda
can't
are."
accommodate you if you want gross feet.
Sorry.
this
Yeah.
guy that I subscribe to on OnlyFans, like he is so particular because he'll put it in a comment video. It'll be him fully naked, and then he'll he'll put his foot up to the camera, and then he makes sure that he takes each individual toe and wiggles it. He separates it like
Yeah.
and wiggles it. And then the
And when
second
I
one,
scrunch it and let
This
it go.
little
and-
piggy.
yeah.
each little piggy gets their own little shine. I'm like, wow, because I know his DMs are probably full of, hey, do you think you could just lift that up towards the light just a little bit more?
Yeah.
And spend a little bit more time on the pinky toe. Pinky toes are my thing. Like,
Very true.
oh my God.
Sock strip teases. All kinds of things.
Well, it turns out Joby's getting a lot more than he bargained for with the conversation.
If he didn't have a fetish before this segment,
does
he does
now.
now. Yeah.
What's a fetish?
You watched the live stream. I look good today, buddy. I got my blanket, my sweatpants, my hoodie.
Blanket and sweatpants.
That'll get you going.
Alan Cox Show After Hours line. For people who want to leave us messages there, you can. It's 216-986-8903.
Hey, Alan, it's Matt. You were talking about, celebrity deaths and which ones hit you the hardest the other day when you were talking about Chester Bennington. And it got me thinking about my musical Mount Rushmore, and I'm kind of wondering to get your guys' opinions on who would be on your personal musical Mount Rushmores. So mine, the leading person, passed away 5 years ago. That was Tom Petty. And it made me start thinking that the rest of the guys on my musical Mount Rushmore are all getting up there in years too. So I've got some sadness coming, I'm sure, in the next couple decades, hopefully the next couple decades, not sooner. But mine, Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, John Cougar Mellencamp, and one Billy Joel. And then if I could slam a fifth person up there, because I think there's only 4 people on Mount Rushmore, I would make the wild card Weird Al Yankovic. But curious to see what your guys' are. I have a feeling that one of yours will have Mr. Warren Zevon on it, but I thought it might be an interesting topic. Thanks. Bye.
John Hoosier Mellencamp, Billy Joel, Tom Petty. Who else did he say? You know, I was always curious who the fifth person on Mount Rushmore would have been. It was originally intended to have 5 heads on it, but the guy who was carving it out died.
The Fonz.
The Fonz. Mm-hmm. So it was going to be Roosevelt, Lincoln, Jefferson. The Fonz in the 40s?
Yeah.
wasn't Mount Rushmore like the 30s or the 40s or something? So
Yeah,
Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, Lincoln, the Fonz, Arthur Fonzarelli. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, as far as musical Mount Rushmores go, I mean, you got to cut a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Because it's Mount Rushmore. So we're dealing with artists who were born in the USA. Oh, Springsteen was his 4th one. Right. Can't have foreign artists. It's Mount Rushmore.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay.
He's up there.
John Mayer.
John Mayer. Who knew John Mayer was going to be on there?
Because you can't have the Stones. There's no Zeppelin, no Kinks, no Bowie, no Clapton, no Clash, no U2, no Bob Marley. American artists would have to be on Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. So you've got John Mayer, and Matt's absolutely right. Matt knows
you
me.
Can't do
God Warren Zevon.
You can't do anybody that's not from America?
They're not.
No, I mean, it was American presidents on Mount Rushmore. So it was,
Yeah, but I think it's just, but when someone says, you're Mount Rushmore of this, they're just saying you're top 4.
I'm keeping it.
It's fine.
To its original. Right? This country's all about originalism now. So we're keeping it American artists and individuals, by the way. Mount
not
Rushmore.
Bands.
That's right, not bands. So you got to pick 4 people from Mount Rushmore. Because think about this. Do a deep dive on this musically. The heads on Mount Rushmore were intended to represent the birth of the country with George Washington, the growth of the country with Jefferson, the development of the country with Roosevelt, and the preservation of the country with Abraham Lincoln. So 4 artists. Who best represents musical birth to you? Robert Johnson is going to be on her Mount Rushmore.
Musical birth.
We don't even have to go that deep. So you're going to go with John Mayer, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I can't think of 2 more that aren't part of bands that I think are the
Zach Brown.
Zach Brown's not one of the greatest artists of all time. I mean,
Garth
he's my
Brooks.
favorite.
It's yours, though.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's for you. It doesn't have to be anything other
but he's
than
part
that.
of a band.
Yeah,
I
but-
wouldn't pick him individually.
but
Like, I wouldn't
isn't
pick
he a big-
Patrick Stump, even though Fall Out Boy is one of my favorite
But
bands.
you could.
But I
could.
wouldn't.
Oh.
Okay, I would.
Because their
See,
solo stuff isn't that good.
Right, but if they're the main reason that band sounds that way, like I would say Claudio Sanchez from Coheed and Cambria because he's the main influence behind that band.
Okay.
So I'd say Claudio Sanchez, Steve Winwood.
Mm-hmm. Good pick.
Yeah, he's real good. Daryl Hall.
Mm-hmm. Blue-Eyed Soul.
Yeah, and then I think my last one would probably be. Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's tough.
I'm gonna go.
Weird Al Yankovic.
No.
Eminem.
No.
I like Eminem a lot.
I like Eminem a lot too, but I would say
Bette Midler.
I just don't listen to enough of his stuff to have him on my list. I would say
Dizzy Gillespie. T-Pain.
Cannonball Adderley.
probably Al Green.
Al Green. Now, obviously, I'm burying the lead here because the only musical Mount Rushmore I want to hear is Poundcake's.
Whitney Houston.
I knew that.
Did you call her Winnie Houston?
Yeah.
Whitney Houston.
That's fine. You can have Whitney Houston.
All right,
Can
Whitney-
we guess?
Right?
Whitney
She
Houston?
liked rocks.
Okay, go ahead.
Beyonce?
Nope.
Oh, Beyonce's not up there for
She's
you?
not up there.
Gaga?
Ashanti.
No.
No Shanti, no Gaga.
Prince.
No Shanti, no God.
J-Lo?
But she
No.
can't do Celine. She's not American.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, Celine's off. Okay, well, Alan said Prince. So it would be,
Oh, Prince is a good one.
yeah, Prince,
How did I miss Prince?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
How did you miss Prince?
Yeah.
Prince
you
is
knew
on
it was gonna be
mine.
Michael Jackson.
Switch Prince out for Al Green.
So it's Prince, Michael
R.
Jackson.
Kelly.
Are you going to let me go? Or are you going to
sorry. Go ahead.
Damn.
She's improving your Mount Rushmore by the second.
So it'd be Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and then
Brendan Urie.
no,
Benny Hill.
You guys are really making it black artists. See, now
Not
you let me
American.
lose my train of thought. I have to think about it now.
All right. I think Matt's right. I would have Warren Zevon. I would have Jeff Porcaro. I would have Jimi Hendrix. And I would have John Quincy Adams because he was a very talented flutist.
Which Steely or Dan?
It's not a person.
Oh.
And as much as I like Steely Dan, I would put neither Donald Fagen nor Walter Becker on my musical Mount Rushmore.
Your personal.
But Jeff Porcaro,
Tina
Jeff Porcaro
Turner.
played on a
Tina
ton of their
Turner.
albums, and he's
Tina
on
Turner.
Mount Rushmore. Tina Turner. Okay.
'Cause
Anna Mae Bullock.
Yeah, because I mean, I said that most of my legends aren't still alive. Tina Turner is probably one of the only living legends that is still alive. She's not performing anymore, but Prince dead, Michael Jackson dead, and then Whitney Houston's dead. So my only living one is Tina Turner.
Not Michael Jackson. Or did you say Michael
He
Jackson?
said Michael Jackson.
Oh, he
Prince,
did say
Michael
Michael.
Jackson,
Yeah,
Whitney
okay.
Houston, Tina Turner. Those are my four. Those are like my pioneers. Like they made me. So now, if we're not talking about Americans, then Celine Dion would be on that list. But and then if we go further, Toni Braxton. But she was way later on.
Oh boy, Toni Braxton.
Toni
That's
Braxton.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
You see, we never, ever do nothing. Nice. Easy. We always do it
Tina Turner covering John Fogerty, of course.
rough.
I got to take a
We'll
break.
take the beginning of this song.
If you want to send a text 35192, you can listen wherever you are on the iHeartRadio app.
Rough. It's the way we do. Proud Mary. And we're